me again. And I'm very loud voice and being very bossy, so you'll have to put up with me. Tonight we've got Paul Brooks who's come down from Northumberland County Council. Now Paul Brooks, you must remember, can help you with care, he can help you with accommodation and that kind of thing, but Paul does not represent the power grid or anybody to do with putting your electricity on. Unfortunately, Jill did invite everybody from the power grid and the services to come, and nobody's coming. So that's a big surprise, isn't it? You know, so next time they send you your electric bill, just say, hang on, if you come and knock on my door, I'll pay you. But never mind, I'm now going to pass you over to Paul, and he will say what he has to say and then answer any questions you might have.
Hi, good evening everybody. Thank you very much for coming along. It's just an opportunity. I'm a head of a service, so I run a department of the council called Northumberland Community Centre. So Friday at 3 o'clock, I was stood up to be part of what was our incident response to Storm Arwen, and that kind of incident's been running all the way through since Friday. So been supporting communities right across Northumberland with power and water outages. So I have been part of a multi-agency kind of tactical response that's been dealing with this incident with colleagues from Northumbria Police, from Northumberland Fire and Rescue Service, from the Health Service, and from departments across the council. So I am aware of your situation. I'll give you an update of what we've been doing on your behalf, and just give you a bit of a background of what should happen, what should have happened, and what appears to be happening within Northumberland, and in particular within the context of those who live at Pont Meet and Guardian Court.
Dalton.
Yeah, there seems to be some anomalies. So we've been having calls every day, so a technical support group's been set up. That has included obviously Northern Power Grid. Northumbrian Water has been part of that because generally we've had water and electricity. If electricity goes out, pumping stations go out, loss of water supply. So they've been on the call. On a daily basis, we get details of all of the known postcode addresses where there is power outage. Now we use that for a number of purposes. So from a local authority point of view, working with partners such as TEL, Clinical Commissioning Group, GPs, we use that to look at, are there known priority areas where we need to put in some support because power's out, we've got care homes or we've got people who we know potentially might be on kind of life support and telecare systems and things like that. So we use that data on a daily basis to help prioritise some of the response that goes on around the county. So we've been able to look to a street level in some cases of where there's power outages. We were informed Saturday afternoon around your postcodes. So we raised that through the technical support group and made sure that NPG knew that there was an issue in that area so that they could respond to it along with all the others. Now what's happened is we've raised that, there's 3 calls a day, that's been raised at least 3 times a day ever since Saturday, and every day we get a data dump back saying there is no power supply issue to those residents, full power supply is present. We've obviously done drive-bys, we've taken pictures, we've shown, so myself on behalf of the council, colleagues from Northumbria Police and Northumberland Fire and Rescue Service have all, from a multi-agency point, said no, we can confirm power is off in those locations. NPG come back and say there is no power issue, and I know you have phoned in as well, because what should happen as soon as a power is registered that there is a loss of power supply, NPG has a legal duty of care to you as a resident and should be reimbursing you for that. So they can put you into temporary accommodation and all of that stuff is funded through them. What I will say, obviously because I look after all of Northumberland, we do have a large number of people from Pont Meet who are being housed in accommodation which is being funded through NPG. So the system is working in some elements, but it's certainly not working for your 2 postcodes. We have raised that time and time again. We've had an executive call from the executive of the council, senior to look at potentially did we escalate this, and raise your street level data has been raised as an issue at that call at the highest level. So that's all I can do, and I apologize, there's nothing more we can do, but we are aware of you. But from a council point of view, we can't allow this because you're in this cycle of process. It's going round and round. We can't get a date for resolution. We don't know, and obviously we can't kind of leave you in this position. So obviously we need to look at how can we support you as a group of residents. So you know, if there is anything that you kind of you're in need of, then obviously I've now got executive approval to look at how we might do that at a local level. That's in confidence in this room because we can't do that all over Northumberland. But we know you're in a situation that is unusual in a sense of, for whatever the system is at Northern Power Grid, your fault line is not being reported on a daily basis. So they need to come out, they're aware of that, and we need to find out what's going on in those postcodes. But from a Northumberland Community Together point of view and NCC, kind of it's about what do you guys need. If there's any kind of concerns, and I know you might not want to do it in here, but I'll be around. If there's anything that you need from us, I appreciate some of you may not be at a state now where you might need temporary accommodation. We potentially could look at that, or whether it's just support in other ways. So it might feel like a very limited offer in the sense that hopefully you want your power back on everything else. That's all we want. But obviously we haven't got an update at this point. We will continue to push it. There is another call later on this evening. It is on the top of the list to be flagged again to see if we've got a further update on that. But really, I just haven't spoken to Gillian and others. I'm aware of the plight, so I just wanted to come down. I live in Pont Meet, so I just wanted to make sure there is support available for you. Apologies, we never got earlier. I think we sent some staff out on the ground today just to knock on doors to make sure people were fine and well and all that. The reality is that there's so much going on all over Northumberland. We've got a very limited resource and we're responding to it. So apologies we didn't get there earlier. What I have to say is obviously from a continuous point, Active Northumberland had offered the use of their facilities for hot water showering. I know the Diamond Inn and others have been doing it. And really, like Milton Hall, mutual aid and community spirit's the best thing because it makes us more resilient, and when the next one happens, it's doing. So a lot of time Neggie's gone into supporting community groups. And if I'm honest, from a council point, it's not about us stepping in with our size 9 and trying to solve a problem. It's much better if we work with guys to help put a local provision in place, whether that's a cafe, a leisure centre, a community centre or whatever. So there's a lot of sports going in there. And from a Pontina point, I'm aware that some of that has been available, but it hasn't reached yet, and we need to do a little bit more. But if there is anything in particular you need, there is support on offer, and I'm not.
There've been various rumours, some were true, maybe we don't know, about emergency generators going out to some communities. So, that would obviously help. But the other thing is, there's several people I've spoken to and Christian's spoken to who are scared to leave their homes because we're a good community, but there's another community out there who know that properties are empty and people are perhaps scared to leave their homes.
Absolutely, and if we can keep people safe and well in their homes, I want to do that. What I will say is, colleagues in Northumbria Police, we have raised the concern. They have increased patrolling in the area. That patrol is also being complemented by Northumberland Fire and Rescue Service and actually council staff. So you might, I know it's quite dark there, but you might see strangers driving around. Part of that is because we're trying to keep a high presence, and again that's because that came in from yourselves as an ask, and it's if we can try and support that.
Can I just raise as well, it's not just reading about externally, we live near Dalton and different all that way, and actually there's lots of houses on there in the middle of nowhere, and that's where we're trying to stay at home for that reason. But actually there's no presence around there, and it's easy to get there, so it's not just the centre.
No, absolutely, and the problem is if I'm honest, the level of detail that we work with from NPG is woeful. So we work often blind, and it's not until the community raises something that we actually know there's an issue, and that's when we can respond when we know. So if we don't know, we don't know. I mean, I've been asked to go and knock on every door in Northumberland. We did that with the COVID, and it took about 6 months. So I mean, I can't do that. But there is levels. You're absolutely right. Generators have gone out into some communities. Generally, NPG will provide them if it's a community, but it's going to priority to care homes, to, as I say, where there might be assisted living.
Can I ask, sorry interrupt, but about the generator, can you find out why Woodside and Medburn, 50 homes, are on a generator and they're all back in their homes? Why are some places getting them and some not? We've got 40 houses.
Because you're not registered. once that appears on there, what they make, I don't know what the solution will be for NP, but Medburn is the NPG have put in a resolution to put a community back on
So
the
where's our
grid.
resolution?
Well, at the minute, this is the issue we've got. They're claiming
They're saying that
that
you're
there's
stolen power.
they're claiming that there isn't a fault there, and this is what we've been fighting for since Saturday.
Sorry, I know Paul because I used to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
with him many years ago. Well, I'd just like to point out my next door neighbour managed to get through to Northern Power Gen on a couple of occasions and reported that in Guardian's Court there is no power, and they've had an email back with a reference number. So despite the fact that Northern Power Gen are claiming they don't know that there's a problem here, they have been informed, and it
Yeah.
is, you know, and they have responded, and, you know, to be honest, I think it's pretty poor that they're still trying to hide behind the fact that they're saying that there isn't a problem, because, I mean, it was very interesting you saying about the fact they've got a duty of care to us. Well, we can demonstrate, and we have evidence. I have through my neighbour who's had to move out, but I'm in contact with them. I have evidence through that they have been informed and that they do know, and
Yeah,
you know they need to respond, but with too much.
Absolutely. I mean, we have reported the incident several times. So the incidents and the faults are being reported, but however they work, and obviously I can't comment on the operational of MPG, they obviously run some kind of power, and their system then says, unfortunately, power restored. So every day we're getting told the power is restored on those sites, and they're saying, no, it hasn't. So that's, and obviously we flagged that we've got no confidence in their data, and that they need to go out and they need to do a local assessment. So, and obviously that's why you're not getting the level of service from MPG that you should be, because
So does that mean no work has started at all, if they don't think there's a problem?
I can't comment, but I could, if I was sat in your shoes, I would be in that assumption, because,
That's shocking, isn't it?
you know, you've
5
got-
days, isn't it?
and that's
Yeah,
why I'm
and
here.
we are trying to
I know, and I know,
on your
yeah.
behalf, and we're sitting in a control room all day, every day, late at night. All we care about is the residents of Northumberland, and we are doing our utmost to help you. We're not the bad guys. We're trying
no, no, no.
We fully appreciate
No,
that,
no, I
but
don't think
is there
it's
somebody
personally
from Northern
No, no,
Power
don't.
Grid who could come out to the street physically?
It's been asked, and we've asked for that. We've escalated to a point. We've said we've got no, because obviously they're dealing with an incident that goes beyond Northumberland and Durham.
Yes.
But we have said we need, and that's been reiterated today. But we've said you need to do a site survey. We've got, and we're using that we can now demonstrate that we've got no confidence in their data. Now their data has to provide a much wider multi-agency response for a number of reasons, and we said vulnerable. So we're saying now we've got no confidence in an example. That we know power's out, and you're telling us it's not. So that's been, and we've pushed and pushed, and it takes unfortunately a process to get it to where it is. But we have advocated on your behalf. And sorry, this is Collie, so Julie then is an operational manager, and I said Julie's come along just to see if there's anything we can do tonight.
I think because we don't know how long this is going to be, we need sufficient generators. This is a main thing we need to have. And it gets us all back in our houses, take the pressure off MPG, because then they've got enough time that they need to fix the lights.
It's not just like plugging in a generator. For liability reasons, the network needs to do that, because then there is no liability on all your homes, and the council's not gonna wire whatever kilowatt generator to that. So again, we need NPG, because if they're struggling to get a generator, we can get a generator. But what we can't do is plug a street into the mains and get an electrician to do that, because we put the liability structure far more than that. So
Could we get NPG to do what they've done for Medfarm then? Can we get a generator? Can you provide the generator for NPG to then get that sorted for us?
So yeah, well that's one of the solutions they may come up with. We've raised it to say if you need local support, we are here, but you have to acknowledge the support on that street. Until they do that, you can't really
On the phone they are acknowledging it, they're saying, we've got plastic because there is the fault, but it will be back on Thursday at 10 PM. I said, no, it won't be back on Thursday at 10 PM. It's a rolling date. we can't go, we've been told we can't go by the website, we cannot go by the website.
Yeah,
So
I mean, if they've offered
they've
you
acknowledged it, yeah.
if they've offered you accommodation, take it, because they're at liberty to pay all costs associated with that. But if they're not saying that your house has a problem, they will not provide that assurance. And that's where we might need to step in. But if you've got confirmation from them, then they have to. And as I say, don't bother going to the Premier Inn. The Premier Inn is fully booked. It's fully booked with MPG clients. So if you're already in there, you're probably going to get back. So,
They paid for last night, they paid for tonight, now obviously checked out for 4 p.m.
But we didn't know you guys didn't start doing this for you, Saturday. They can't be booked us for Saturday evening because there's no space. So we're going to have to like book Doubletree Hill or whatever's near and say, well, we're in here now, you're going to have to pay for that. We're just going to have to dot
Yeah.
about where we can be.
Yeah.
How long is this going to go on for?
Well,
Yeah,
Paul
how long
had
did this
asked
round?
for, yesterday, Paul asked for an hourly upgrade
Thank you.
grade off him to find out what's going on, but that's a bit.
Are they not like, regulated by Ofgem and things
well,
like that?
it will be. I think that will become
Yeah.
out of the kind of
Aye.
the learning of this. There'll be anything. There'll be a debrief that we all put into that. But my concern today is obviously that this you seem to be trapped in this cycle where we're just going
Yeah,
round.
we
And I
just
think
went home.
you know we have in fairness there are communities big that have now come back and it's some of the small towns we have to control. But it's just having sat in that incident room and seeing your incident come up time and time again and there being no resolution. It was just getting to a point I said, hang on, your system is at fault here, you need to step in and resolve it.
Yeah.
If they put you in accommodation and they know you're in there, that gives me a little bit more assurance. If you're not,
Yeah, what happens if we've had no confirmation to say we're in accommodation?
then have a conversation with us and we'll see what we can do.
Because I mean, at the minute, yes, tonight we're in accommodation, but tomorrow night we might not be. They're fully booked. Where do we go then? I've got a dog in kennels. Kennels are booked from tomorrow night. What am I going to do with my dog?
We can't bring dogs into Premier Inn, places like that, where are we supposed to go? I've already had to move out into Durham and had to move out because my mother-in-law is gravely ill with cancer. So I posed as a threat because I couldn't go to university and travel from Newcastle to Durham, so I'm posing a risk to her. And now, where am I supposed to go? How am I supposed to not do my uni work because I can't charge my laptop? Are children supposed to just be freezing cold in houses?
No, and I think that's why we've come down, because obviously it gets to a point now where but you know what I mean, there is support there, so obviously we can have you know, what I can't do is I can't put that on social media and say, because all of a sudden we'll be, you know what I mean, I'm here in person tonight to say, we're aware of your plight, and if we can help you, we will help you.
Can I just say the problem is huge and it's bigger than Northumberland County Council and National Grid. I was in a meeting with 3 senior National Grid officials yesterday. They're telling us not to look at the website, the data's not right. There's 16,000 houses out as of 1 p.m. yesterday. So we're not going to resolve this as a county. Why are you running it as a silver room and not a gold room? Why is it not being declared as a major incident? Because everybody in the different multi-agencies that are running this silver group are clearly struggling to identify all of the vulnerable and to get support to those individuals. And so the problem is bigger in the county. We can't get enough engineers in. If you don't declare it as a major incident, Durham Force and Durham Council declare it as a major, so is Scotland. The North East was one of the hardest hit in the region. If you declare it as a major incident, don't we get national resources like the army? Does it not help us and help you to get more people, resources and generators?
That's a different discussion, but no, so tactically the decision not to declare it, because what we will get back from a military and civil contingency act will not add anything to the situation. It's already been declared as a national emergency from a power point of view, so they are getting what they need to do it from a North London perspective, and that is a multi-agency decision through the police, through the local authority. At this moment in time, they do not declare that because the benefit of declaring it will not add anything to the current situation. So, but that's a decision
So we
outside of the,
do we not even know if they've gone and looked at the faults yet then?
I don't know, yeah,
And
because obviously, I don't
And
know.
what I'm saying is, we've got like, you're saying accommodation in hotels and that can be great, but we're leaving a street open and we've got like 86 and 87-year-old residents that are staying at home, fear of being burgled. That's
Yeah.
not right.
But what I would say, you please, there is, you are getting a heightened level of support. You know, I live on the street, but Northumbria Police colleagues have put additional patrols in there. Our fire and rescue are doing it. It's not normally their day, but they are doing it. And again, and we've got council vehicles and even staff. I did two laps yesterday. Are going round. They know of the situation, and there's a lot of people again through good are doing that there. So it's been raised, and obviously that will continue until the situation's resolved. They're not going to pull back on the patrols. The others aren't. You know, we're all committed to supporting that.
Are they bringing engineers in from other regions to try
Yes,
and help
so
move
so
forward?
Northern Power Grid, the fact that they've declared it is there are now, why they call that, there are a number of other power companies now supporting both in Durham and in Northumberland. The issue we have in Northumberland is complex, and we've also got Scottish Power that has an overlap. So that's where the national resources come in, that's what's done, because a lot of this, it's about the unfortunately it's about the power industry, and you know, military doesn't solve the problem. It's not, we haven't got a shortage of food or something or distribution there is at the network. It's about actually getting the electricity problem solved.
So in terms of postcodes that are clearly
Yeah.
coming up as fixed and low issues,
Yeah.
how do we move forward, and how do we get an engineer into the street, and how do you move forward when
Well, I
you're
think
sitting in
that's
that room, what happens next?
So what happens there? So that gets that. It's exactly the. So there is now a senior executive group that meets. So there is a technical group with the engineers, all of that. Those postcodes. So we are able to influence. This is what we need from a priority point from Northumberland. This is where we need you to go, and obviously they have that takes it back. That is then confirmed with an executive group from the local authorities and their executive team to say where are we this year. So your postcodes have been escalated to the very highest of that. So it is running alongside schools, hospitals and care homes. So that's to how much effort has been put into trying to. Has an engineer been out there? I don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know.
How can we find that out? How can we?
Well, that's what we're trying to get. Every 3-4 hours we have a meeting. We're asking, give us a resolution, because we're asking those. There's thousands of postcodes, and some of it we've got to just take a risk and say, let's hope they're getting on with it. And there are a few that we have to say, right, we need feedback on that here and here. And Pont Meet and Guardian Court is on there, and is it being asked for permanently? What is happening there?
What's the involvement of the MP? Is he not raising it anywhere?
I imagine he would have.
He had a meeting yesterday. He had a meeting yesterday with Northern Power Grid, and he had a meeting last night with 2 ministers. So, and the guy up in his office have done a lot for the residents. Have been quite proactive, and so is Councillor Lyle Darwin. Our own councillor Richard Dodd is not answering his phone.
Well, Richard's on a farm that's not had power since Friday, so he's in a position anyway.
Yeah. So it's been your issue has been pushed in by a lot of. I mean, but you know how quickly that resolves. So someone get the boots on the ground, getting their tools out and fixing it. I don't know, but all I can say is, you know, you're not being ignored or forgotten. We know your issue, and we are trying our best. It's out of our hands, but more importantly now, because we don't have it, I expect time when this might be resolved. You know, we are here to say if there is anything that you need, you know, anything that we need, we will look for that supported from a council. It's not our responsibility, I know that, but we can't now ignore the situation we're in.
It's also confused the source and sitting out of control with the very least 5 times a day. It's what Paul said earlier, that execs are looking at it. We are choosing the energy companies, you know. So rest assured, we constantly, every couple of hours, look at what's happening with your difficulties.
But if it's taken nearly 5 days now to get to the point where nothing has been done, please tell me what's going to change in the next 3 days then?
I would like to think now so much It's been
Yeah.
squeezed and squeezed and squeezed as much as it can to the
But we
point.
need political leverage. I'm afraid people here need to make sure councillors, MPs and anybody else who is concerned, we need to let them know that you're going to withhold your votes. Because, to be honest, nothing's been done in 5 days. And like you said, Lynn, we've got elderly people. How many people here are relying on the help of their relatives by chance? How many people have fallen through the sieve who've got no relatives? Right? So for me, there could be a lot more vulnerable people who haven't even seen yet. And you haven't, and I know you can't. I understand that.
I think Timmy's done a really good.
She has, yeah, she's a good friend of ours.
Absolutely. But it is a
But
fair
nothing,
duty.
but nothing still hasn't changed. Nothing's changed since lunchtime on Saturday.
And what we're up against now is freezing temperatures coming,
Yeah.
so then it's going to be frozen pipes,
Worse,
then it's going
yeah.
to be floods when it thaws. So what are we going to be dealing with here over Christmas?
Well,
It's
pe-
3
yeah.
weeks for Christmas, we need to get home, we need generators, and we need homes.
Well, people, I know there's people here, when we had the floods, it was the house opposite ours and Pete's, that their pipes burst, and that provoked everything. And so many years living in that house. But that's, you know what I mean, it has to take something like that. Unfortunately, I know that's not the county council's responsibility, but I just feel like we're absolutely stuck in a vacuum. And that's what it feels like to the residents.
I understand your
Yeah.
frustrations.
And
Well, all this stuff when you phone up,
Yeah,
electric might be on by midnight tonight.
God, Lawrence?
yeah.
And then they just keep saying this is, every time you phone up, I spent an hour and a quarter this morning waiting to talk to somebody. And I was so cold, I got my wife to come in and take over my hands. It's frozen. I'll put this pair of gloves on. And all they can say, yes, but we said about having a generator, or can you get some heaters for our houses of some description? Oh yes, we'll get back to you. But I mean,
and then,
it's not, I mean, you get the same answer every time you speak to them.
They told you on Saturday that you were vulnerable and a
And
priority.
I guess they're told I'm a
Saturday.
priority from my age. It's down. As soon as it tells my name, what my number is, oh yes, Mr. Milburn, you're a priority. I said, what are you doing about that then? Nothing.
Awful.
It's just words. Which gets me annoyed. I mean, I've heard that it was going to be off until the weekend, and that was on Monday. You go, oh no, there'll be nothing like that. I haven't heard that. Well, they've been correct. And they said, but this morning you might get it back by Friday. And pigs might fly.
Yeah. No chance.
Yeah. And you know, when I honestly, you know, I sympathise with people. But the honest, we've asked for a bit of honesty from them on their calls. But at the minute, the date is not necessarily what it is. You know, I can't give. You know, I'd love to be able to say, oh, actually, we've got an engineer out and we think, but you've probably got more information than I am. And as I say, I'm not here to defend NPG at all. It's about what we can do to, you know, alleviate the situation you find yourself in.
The thing
That's
is
all
that-
I can offer. You know what I mean?
I think the fault might not even be as big a fault as we think it is, because nobody's checked it. It could be something that's so simple.
Yeah.
We need an engineer just to go and it's back.
Do you know what they said to me yesterday? Have you checked your meter and you haven't
Oh,
put
come
your
on.
things have got, because next door has got electricity, but he is on the old grid. My next door neighbour, he's number 1 point of view, I'm number 2. Well, he says, well, have you checked your meter, have you your switches? I says, I needn't do the bloody switches. I said, about 39 houses were all in the dark.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's a recurring issue here from their customer contact centre. Have you checked your fuses? You know that your power's off. We know your power's off. And hopefully, it is a fair little plan, until someone comes out and assesses that. We don't know
So
it,
how
as
do
I
we
say.
physically get engineers from NPG to come to the streets tomorrow? How can we
That's got to
physically
go
make
through that process
happen?
that you're going through. That's
That
been raised
process is
and
going nowhere.
and we've
At what
been
stage
trying
does this
as
become
well.
negligent and criminal? Because if
Well,
This isn't a legal duty of care, this isn't a legal duty of care.
Let's just try to keep it a little bit calmer. Paul is, you know, Paul can only answer one question at a time. It's very difficult.
Go on, Pete, you should have the camera for that.
Sorry, I was just asking, I wasn't...
No,
I
it's difficult, isn't it? Everybody's talking at once.
I was just asking at what point, you know, if we're saying that, you know, the power grids, they have like an obligation, what point does this become criminal?
I think that the point when we saw that's just being repeated and the same issue coming back saying there's no power supply there, that's why it's got raised. And there's been other conversations I know outside of what we do from an operational incident point with ministers and with things to try and put that pressure on. You know, I can't answer that. Hopefully tomorrow it gets resolved. But I don't know. All I can say is I came today because it's gone on far too long. We've observed that and we just wanted to feed that back to you to say we're aware of it, we support where we can, but it's out of our, and all we can do is push and push. And other people have joined in that conversation and are trying to put pressure on as well. You know, because it is unfair, because there are other communities who've had their issue resolved a lot quicker and probably we're no different to yourself. But you know, the fact of we need an engineer out there can't keep saying Jackson Street has got no power and the others have all got power when actually it's wrong.
Is that what they're saying? Oh, aye, because that's on the map, isn't it, Jackson?
Definitely.
Can it not go at PM's questions? Like, can Guy Otterman not raise us at PM's questions? We need to badger him.
Yeah, they could. I mean, I'm not here to lobby that fears, but you know, hopefully they're aware of it. You know, your MP is aware.
It's all yeah when there's an election.
I've phoned guys, I've put a call into Guy's office tonight, into Hexham. And I mean, they're very sympathetic, but I mean, said we'll do something, we'll try to do something for you. So it's going to go under Power Grid, onto Northern Power. But I mean, when you answer it, Northern Power, Yorkshire, and West Lincolnshire, you know, what's that got to do with us?
His constituency must be one of the most affected in the country, I would say. His patch. You know, and I know he's got Yorkshire and Scotland, but I would say his constituency must have a lot. So like you say, well, where is he then? Sure, you would like some help from him too.
If we'd come here and been told, oh, they're really working hard on it, and there's been lots of, nobody can get it fixed, then you'd have a little bit more sympathy. But just to say there's no problem, it just absolutely begs
And we don't know if you can check or look to see what's going on.
Paul, can I just query about what actually happened? I mean, I don't know if you know the sequence of events, but there was the storm. And at the time when the storm happened, the properties on Jameson Manor, the police headquarter site, they went off. And then I was fine, and I'm thinking, I'm supporting you because I've got friends and family up there. And then 2 o'clock, completely after the storm, 2 o'clock on Saturday, my electric went off. Now, the fact that the storm was over made me think that there was a concern that it potentially there was a danger through the supply and were being deliberately disconnected. Now, this might not be true, but I'm just saying what I surmised. Added to which, between Guardian's Court and Jameson Manor, there are overhead cables, and a tree had fallen on the cables. And initially, they were actually out trying to sort the tree out and blah blah blah. And I thought, great, they've got the tree sorted. Then they now just have to do a safety check, and when they've done a safety check, we'll get reconnected. But I don't buy into the fact that they don't know. I think they actually deliberately disconnected us. That's certainly what my perception of the situation. We were deliberately disconnected because there was a safety issue. Jameson Manor got their power back on within 2 days. They've done something to the cables and to the tree, and I think now it might be just a case of them actually checking that it's safe and it could be reconnected. But I do think they need to acknowledge what's going on, and I think for them to sort of try to repeatedly hide behind the fact that they're not acknowledging their problem it's absolutely despicable, quite frankly. And And believe me, I worked with Paul for a number of years, and he's one of the good guys. So, you know, he's there to try and support us. But I'm really annoyed with what they've done, and I've also, because they've kept providing incorrect information, first not acknowledging we had a problem, and then putting in incorrect information about when we're going to be reconnected. I've lost not only the contents of my fridge freezer in the kitchen, but also a freezer full of food in the garage, which was home prepared batch meals, which I could have offloaded to somebody else if they'd just been honest with us at the outset. So I'm really not having a go at you, Paul. I'm just trying to communicate with you that maybe these are some of the questions you should put to them. Have they deliberately disconnected us? Because I think they have.
We can ask that question. You know, all from our point is we just more push on that and say, what are you doing about that road back there? That's, you know, just on that, that's a valid point about obviously freezers, fridges going on and that. The council is, there will be additional dustbin deliveries to take away destroyed food and things like that, just so it doesn't become a, so again, that's something we're having to look at.
Are the council going to help replenishing any of that? Like 3 weeks before Christmas, 3 kids?
What I will say in this room, and to our colleagues down here, if you are in need of support financially for food over the winter period, for assistance, there is support there. It is not through this storm, but there are other support. So where we can look to offer some support.
Can I just
Thank you
ask,
very much.
regarding emptying your freezers and everything, do we need to write down what the contents of what's in the freezer? Or?
I would, because you're all eligible for, you know, any financial loss occurred by yourself should be picked up by MTG. So it's not just about the overnight accommodation, it's any financial loss incurred as a result of loss of power. They should be picking that up.
But it says no on the website. They say they're not responsible for it on the website on MPG. They're not responsible for spoiled food.
Right. So they must have made that.
We need to make ridiculous.
So that's going to go under the...
Because that supposedly was a category, whichever the store is, and it gives them 48 hours before they have to reimburse us or something.
I think it was a category 2, 48 hours.
But if you take photographs of the stuff that you're thrown out of your freezers, all your insurance companies will cover you. Everybody covers you for
excess and then premiums.
It can depend, but then you can always try and find Power Grid to give you the access. And then see where you go from. I just wanted to give you an update. I've just had a message from our county councillor and parish councillor Richard Dodds, and he's just encountered 2 employees from the Northern Power Grid that are walking the lanes looking for faults from the south of Capheaton. And he said to them, it's 3 PM, you've only got an hour of daylight left.
Yeah.
It's a long walk.
So he's hoping, he doesn't say this, but I would hope they've got a very big torch on the come back tomorrow. And the other thing is, I've emailed Glenn Sanderson today, and I did that through a guy who has quite a bit of, everybody takes notice somewhere, nobody takes any notice of me, my emails go in the bin. And I did it through him, and what we've asked is for Northumberland County Council to raise your level to what they call a gold level, because if they raise you to the gold level, have you just, oh sorry, I've been taking a phone call from a lady who's in trouble.
That conversation's been had, it's been on a daily basis, it's been reassessed, because, you know.
But because Northern Power are saying you haven't got a problem, then you can't go to the gold level because their map shows you've got one.
But the problem that the fallback is Northern Power Grid have declared a national emergency, so they are getting the highest level of government support they can, and they're able to pull in support from other. So, but at a local level, whether I'm not saying tomorrow we might end up going into a different. That decision is being discussed, reviewed, on a daily basis.
What about the army? Can they assist with generators?
The thing is, we've already got quite a good relationship with the Army in Northumberland because of it, so we don't actually have to enact the military civilians contract.
But I believe that they have got to ask, NPG have got to ask for assistance. And until that request goes in, the army can't do anything.
No, they can't, and they wouldn't. And
Exactly, because they're admitting failure there.
And NPG have got national assistance from a number of places because they've declared that. What I will say, guys, is while we've got you, because I don't want to keep you on evening. If we can, if you're happy, what I would like to do is as a token of a gesture of goodwill from our point, if you're happy, I can make a payment to each and every one of you just to cover the cost of food and whatever utilities that you've kind of incurred over the last since Friday. And what we can do is we can obviously we'll not be able to make that tomorrow, direct to your personal phone. We can make a contribution payment, so at least you've got some financial support. So I need obviously to be colleagues. What we can either do is take that this evening,
confidentiality. If you've got a pen, so my direct line number is, if you ring me direct, then nobody knows who's ringing, and I will deal with you all as a priority. How to pay that phone, they've told me it's really simple.
So sorry, can you give your details?
Yeah.
Has everybody got a pen?
Yeah.
Well, if a few of you write it down, we can share the number
Yeah.
afterwards,
Yeah.
can't we?
So it's Julie Leddy, 01670, yeah. Leddy, L-E-D-D-Y, 01670 6226.
Sorry, I've got the code.
622 681. Now that bounces straight to my mobile as well. And I'll just give you.
Is that 621 681?
622 681.
81, thank you.
Within the team, we have 5 what we call license holders. So when the calls come through, the license holders will call you back. Whatever you need will be authorised. The license holder will send a barcode to your telephone. You go to a pay point, you tap the barcode, the shop scans it out, you get instant cash. So once you've made that call to ourselves, there's quite a few of you, we try to do it the same day, but it might be over a couple of days. We'll get that support to your own.
So the Dorchester's okay for tonight?
Champagne and lobsters for you, Michael.
What we'll do is, so basically what we'll do is you'll get a code sent to your mobile phone. You can go to any pay point established, co-op, there's loads of don't all go to the smallest convenience store and try and do how much cash they're paying. But basically you can either use that to do most supermarkets use it. You can either use that cash on the phone to make purchases, in-store purchases, or if you want to catch redemption, you can. You can do top-ups or whatever you want to do. Don't be topping up your fuel though.
Could I just step in? I know it's not your home, but you've got the use of this facility 24 hours a day, as long as you like. With people
Thank you so much.
I have one more little question. You know, we're talking about booking accommodation, it's like we don't know how long we need it for. And when I spoke to them on the phone, they wouldn't book it beyond the date on the website. How do we get around this?
I'll raise that
Please,
for
thank you.
Because we're going to be homeless from 12 o'clock tomorrow.
If you're concerned tomorrow, you've got Julie's number.
Yes.
If you haven't heard back from her tomorrow, escalating, what we will do, we will book accommodation through our travel bureau on behalf of the council. But I can't do that unless we kind of get it from her that they're not doing that, because what that does is then they'll declare that we've now taken liability for you.
And you don't want to do that because they'll then wash their hands of the whole thing, won't they?
Yeah,
We try
that's
ringing
what.
on the phone number, you can find all like the private line, it's just a music tone, we can never get through.
There is a welfare telephone number, Gillian, I'll ring you with that tomorrow. So the welfare number is run by a guy called Chris, and that's for vulnerable people like yourselves.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good at answering the phone. So I'll get that to Jill tomorrow because it's on my desk, Jill.
I've been trying since Saturday.
This welfare number is much faster. These are people who are there solely to look after people's needs and things, so they've got answers in so
So
many
how do we
ways.
move forward? Because we're stuck in this rolling thing. How do we move forward?
It's all right doing all this, but we would really like our electricity back on. Is there any way that we can be informed as to when it will be back on? It's no good just going to accommodation and going to families. We need our electricity, we need a date, we need to know, we need, each and every household needs to be informed. You will get electricity at such and such time.
I totally share it. Guys, we just, if I hear that, I will pass that on, but at the minute I haven't got that, and you know, that's what we're asking for, just like you, power on. When can we expect it? When have we got a date? So
I understand we can't do it. How are we going to be informed? With power agency we are not off. Who is going to inform us? It's no good going away to a hotel for a week and finding that our power's been on for 7 days.
Can you make your numbers with us? Because we're always been on the street every day checking.
Well, yes, we're at home, but that's not the point.
You weren't
I'm not
some of the
saying
official
that,
detail,
but some people are. I am at home, but I'd like to know, I'd like to be informed that it'll be on, I don't know.
So like,
time, but I'd like to know.
or could, what you're sort of meaning is, could you have an official register of our like, details where when you get a date you can let the residents know, whether it be by text message or, is that what you mean? So there's an official, this is the date you'll be on.
if you're happy to share your details, but if someone can collate that and share it to us, I'm more than happy to drip feed in any information, intelligence that we get to share it. You know, that's what we're about. If I can share anything, I will share it. So obviously, but I don't hold that personal information. But if you want to collate it or have a single point of contact, we're more than happy to do that.
So how do we raise the profile? What can we do tomorrow to put more pressure on the grid? What more can we do? What can the residents do? Because lots of people have got contacts with me and not just me. So what can the residents do to raise the profile and try and keep the pressure on?
I think it's what, if you haven't done it already, it's through your member, through your MP, just saying obviously what I've done on your behalf. So the council, the cabinet are all aware that I've come down because I've sought their permission to act on behalf of Northumberland County Council. They're aware here, so again, that briefing paper to get executive approval to come here has again just tightened your plight so that everybody, and that's not just members who need to know because they're in this ward, but actually that's gone across the piece. So everybody's aware why we're having this and why the council is saying, look, we know we shouldn't, but we haven't stepped in because this isn't acceptable. So internally we will push that from the tactical support group. We will continue to push that through that meeting, but again, at a local level, all you can do is influence. So pressure's coming in from lots of different angles to try and get MTG to get someone out there, have a look at it and solve the problem.
Do we need to get the media more involved? Because we kind of haven't done that so far, because we did trust the grid and the council and various multi-agencies to step in and support us, but do we need to be really going hard on media? Is that what would make a difference?
Depends, because what we don't want to do is
what
we don't want to do is you create a media storm and then someone goes and they plug it in, they say, well, it was a little, you know, we're not knowing what the situation. If they came back and said, oh, it's going to be another 5 days, then I think that's potentially something that as a community you might want to do. Say, why is it taking 5 days? What's our solution? Where's our generator? Where are you powering us in from? Because that's what their duty is, you know.
Well, the thing is, the old grid is right beside where we are, isn't it? Because the street behind is on, so...
And that could be another solution. That's what they've done in other communities. Until they come out and assess the situation, all I can say is from what's going on across Northumberland, there's lots of different solutions being deployed to get people back up and